Jack Miller, I live at 4839 Dick Gordon. It's D-I-C-K. It's right here in Kirby. Gray house with an American flag. Thank you, Council, Mayor, for being here tonight. So there's a couple of things, and it's going to be a little sensitive, that I want to talk about tonight. One is the meeting minutes, still not accurate. I sent everybody an email about it. And I want to point out that history shows that the pattern and practice regarding the meeting minutes that Ms. Cox prepares are detailed whenever we're talking about Monique Vernon. By God, everything she said was word by word. I think a whole paragraph or two, maybe. And anybody else we like, or messages we like, very detailed minutes. But when Jack Miller says something, and the issue is, it's what, it's 2 lines, 3 lines? The record needs to be reflected accurately. Now, I'm not for all the detailed crap in the meetings, the minutes. I think that's overkill. We have video documentation here that, and can I see the time, please? We have video documentation here, right? Audio documentation, so it's not necessary to go through the details on the minutes. I mean, it's not a newspaper. What I recommended to you guys in the email, and for the public that doesn't see the email, and by the way, the public can get that email through simply submitting a public information request for any email sent by me, and they can read it. I suggested that in the future, we just keep the minutes at, the content of the minutes at a minimum. And you can learn how to do that by consulting with TML. They have an example of meeting minutes. Now, while there's no law that governs what you can put in there and what you can leave out, leaving stuff out just looks like crap. It gives people like me a platform to say, they're hiding something. And by God, by leaving stuff out, it gives a lot of stock in what I'm saying. And it just doesn't look good. So moving forward, I'd like to see the minutes reduced to just, bare minimum, and also to accurately reflect the record. If we're going to continue to do detailed descriptions of what happened, then please do detailed descriptions for everybody and everything that's said. All right, second thing I want to say is I want to thank you guys for disarming me when I walked in here. You guys just took away everybody's ability in here to back up our police officers if somebody walks through that front door popping off AR-15 rounds, like we saw in the school in Nashville. And we know these officers are going to jump up right away, and they're going to meet that shooter head on. And we're all going to run out of here and leave them alone. When Officer Hilt or Chief Cardona takes a bullet to the chest, because their vests don't stop rifle rounds. In case you guys don't know that, their vests, a rifle round, will go right through them, through the back, and hit the wall. So when Chief Cardona is laying there bleeding out, begging for her mother, I hope that night after she's passed away, that we all go home and we have a peaceful night's rest, knowing that we could have helped. We could have helped. But we're all for disarming all the help that they could have had that night. That is a real scenario that might happen here, or any city council meeting or public gathering. It's happening all over the place every day. Right now at schools, and they're fixing to crack down on that eventually, right? And make those harder targets. This will be the next soft target day too. Now, you guys all have the power to call a point of order anytime. Say, for instance, Mr. Chris Garza runs his dick holster for more than 5 minutes. Y'all can say, point of order, there's a 5-minute limit per the charter. The mayor could utilize her cock holster and say, look, 5 minutes, point of order. I would suggest you guys do that so we don't run meetings until 1 o'clock in the morning. Council, you can only talk for 5 minutes. It's in the charter. And any council person up here, if they feel the need, they can call a point of order and limit that. I want to thank Street and Garza for voting to not move me and not violate my First Amendment. The rest of you guys, I've spoken to 1 or 2. I need y'all to think about that and make sure that doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Next, we have Maria's audit.
Okay, you got this.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, and Kirby residents. My name is Maria Lozano, 5203 Allen, and I am pleased to announce my candidacy
All right.
for a seat on the services.
All right, guys. Let me go here right quick. All right, so I didn't get one warning. I was expecting to get a warning when I said if Councilman Garza opens his dick holster, I'm talking about his mouth, for more than 5 minutes, or if the mayor opens up her cock holster for more than 5 minutes. But the mayor didn't even respond, which tells me that maybe she's learning to honor the First Amendment here in Kirby, which wasn't the case before. It's been a long, hard road to get to this point. Now, I don't know if it's because she's not running again and she'll be out of here in May, or if she's just given up, or if she's actually respecting the First Amendment and respecting free speech. So I really don't know one way or the other, but I do know that I just engaged in some speech that is not popular and that was insulting and even obscene. And I didn't get one warning. So that's definitely a step in the right direction. Let's see, what else? What else? When I showed up today, there were two guys outside, and one called the other a piece of shit, and the other one called the other a faggot. And then one of the running city council people and a city council member and the cop was kind of like, "Hey guys, split up." And I was like, "Hey man, it's free speech, and nobody called the police. Get out of here, right?" And the officer did well. He didn't try to stop anybody. He just trying to give him a little advice, right, before it gets too heated. But these are two senior citizens going at it. And apparently one is on the board at the Senior Citizen Center that's currently under investigation for embezzlement, fraud, theft. And they terminated somebody because they're under criminal investigation, and there's supposed to be a wrongful termination suit coming up, and stuff like that. And the allegation is that Barbosa, which is I think the president of the Senior Citizen Center here, launched false allegations. And currently there's an investigation. There's no charges filed yet. But here in Kirby, people like Barbosa and Faulkner and those names, they like to try to weaponize the police. That's the way it's been done here for a long time. I rode into town and put a stop to that shit with the help, I might mention, of the police chief here, Roxanne Cardona. She doesn't allow the weaponization of her police department. In this situation with the Kirby Senior Center, Barbosa made some allegations that, look good on paper, and enough to where the police had a duty to take everything, investigate, and then send that over to the district attorney's office. And then now the district attorney's office job is to investigate further and determine if there's any probable cause for an arrest, for a charge, for criminal activity. If the DA's office determines that there is criminal activity or probable cause to support charge of criminal activity, then the DA's office will issue warrants or issue charges. And that's how our process works. This is going to come out one or two ways. It's either going to be the president of the senior center filed false reports with the police department, or false allegations, rather, in an effort to weaponize the police against his opponent there on the board at the senior citizen center. Say that 10 times without tongue twisting. Or there's some meat to his allegation, and the DA will find that there's probable cause for. So anyway, Kirby Senior Citizen Center, you can Google that on the news, and you'll see the article, and it'll explain the whole story. So apparently there's some folks here to talk tonight about appointing somebody to the board or something, and that's where these two guys were outside arguing. One is a senior citizen, and the other one is the president of the Senior Citizen Center, and they're at odds in the beginning. And I caught a little bit of that on video. I'll put that out later. But it was quite hilarious. It's always nice to see two senior citizens going at it. Anyway, I'm going to go back into the meeting and do some filming. And thank you guys for tuning in. Now I'm probably going to end up getting kicked out. Because if there's some bullshit, I'm going to call bullshit and get a warning and get a second one.
get that. What I'm concerned with is, we did see on social media, well, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself, that I'm a city resident here in Kirby, 2802 I got into this, I'm excited about this project, so I hope you all can relate to that. Anyway, where I'm going with this is, I tried calling the number that's on the flyer that you get for, to call the contractor, and it doesn't work. I said it was out, now it's busy all the time. That's one of the biggest things that needs to be done for this project, is have somebody actually informing the residents what's going on, especially like that Puppy Power, I think it's called. They had a problem with their driveways, and I actually talked to Joe, I think it is, the owner there, and she said that nobody told her anything. All this is about communication. I did that, and with my employee that I had, that I was in a civil engineering firm. And that's one of the things that was most important, is communication to the residents. Whether it be the contractor, or whether it be the city, or the city's engineer. There was an engineer that put these plans together. Hopefully, in their plans and specs, it should outline what needs to be done. The other thing that I've also have heard is the detour. There is a detour out there, but it's not enough signs out there. There's one like at a corner only, and not telling them where to go to. If you're going south on Ackerman Road, when you get there to Ben Zingelman, it doesn't tell you how to get back over here to 78. They say there are detours, gives there detours as you come north, but not going south. So that's something that's very important to also try to get in there. There's some things that could happen like that if we were able to get that information. One other thing before I finish up is I've heard from some residents there on Wheatland that there are some cars getting into the parking lots in what do you call those big warehouses that are back there. And they're in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And when they called the city or the police department, said, well, that's part of the city of San Antonio. Yet they're being waken up, in the middle of the night and can't get any rest. So hopefully we can address that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Molina. Next, we have Roger Romans.
I'll speak at the agenda item if I may, Madam Mayor.
Okay. The city secretary just handed me a email to read that was received. This email is from Jessica Sanchez. The subject is banning Chris Garza. Good evening, City of Kirby residents and board members. My name is Jessica Sanchez, and I am a resident of Kirby since 2002. My kids grew up in this city, and they all went to Hopkins Elementary and Kirby Middle School. I cannot attend this meeting in person tonight, so I am sending an email. My reason to send this letter may be off the agenda topic, but I need to speak on this.
Hello, India.
Today, I was aware that one of your own council member, Chris Garza, was in school grounds for the school activity. I am aware of his criminal background and that he is a registered sex offender.
That's not true, Mayor. You said it was true. It's not true.
Point of order, sir.
It's not true.
I call the point of order.
Well, this is citizens to be heard. First Amendment.
Call the point of order.
I have to read this.
I call the point of order. It needs to be addressed.
Mr. Moon, please sit
I
down.
don't have to sit down. I can stand with my finger pointed.
What is your point of order?
It is inappropriate. It is an accusation, it is a personal attack on a member of this council, and you are not allowed to do that.
I'm not doing anything.
No one is allowed to do that. It says so.
That I
Mayor, you said it
understand.
was true that he's a sex offender. He's not a registered sex offender. Correct yourself, please.
Mr. Miller, I did not say it was true. I said that's not true.
Okay, I digress, and I apologize, Mayor.
Thank you.
I thought you said it's true. I digress, and I
Thank you.
apologize.
heard her actually say it's not true.
I apologize. I don't have anything out of this year combat related, and so I'm sorry.
Sir, I'm asking you, please behave.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I do agree with Councilmember Street that, that this email, is targeting, actually, it actually says Councilmember Garza's name. But his name, I mean, I can read this without saying his name. And that, I'm sorry.
It's free speech.
Charlie?
It's inappropriate, and it,
Well, you know,
we need to take a vote.
Slander.
well,
That's the point of order.
look, I understand. But Mr. Miller also says a lot of inappropriate things during his First Amendment, during exercising his First Amendment rights as well.
public official.
I understand he doesn't call us by names.
The mayor is correct.
So,
The mayor is correct.
um,
That citizen needs to be heard.
Charlie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have this email from a citizen for citizens to be heard. I understand and I
City
agree
attorney.
that the council member's name should not be mentioned, and I have already said it. So what would be the ruling to finish reading this email and not mentioning the council member's name?
You already did.
So, with respect to Texas law, it's in the Texas Public or Texas Open Meetings Act, section 551.007, subsection E of the act specifically states, a governmental body may not prohibit public criticism of a governmental body, including criticism of any act, omission, policy, procedure, program, or service. And it does not, but it says that the subsection does not apply to public criticism that is otherwise prohibited by law. I'm not aware of any public criticism that would apply to what you've read so far that would be prohibited by law. So I would just continue reading it if that's the will of this body.
Good job.
Okay, so, we have a point of order on the table.
So the point of order is a point of order on y'all's rules that you get to rule on. And if the body disagrees with your ruling, they can appeal the decision to the whole body, and then the whole body will get to decide whether or not your ruling was appropriate and accurate.
Okay, so your point of order is to want to vote whether or not this email is read, is that correct?
Yes.
Charlie, can we vote to, is it, what I'm trying to ask, is this something that we can vote on to stifle somebody's First Amendment right?
No, the statute actually allows for public criticism. The statute specifically prohibits a governing body from prohibiting criticism of the governing body. That would include its individual members. And so to the extent that the email calls out an individual member of the body, you cannot prohibit that criticism. However, this is somewhat different because this is a letter. This is not someone who's physically standing at the podium. So if you choose not to read the letter, that's up to, I would say that is up to the will of this governing body as to whether or not they want to continue with that.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I have a question first. Do we not have an ordinance to not allow people to do that? I'm just asking because
I don't
it was
think
my
that- I don't
understanding
think
that
that
there
there
was
is.
one.
I believe there is.
I think there is too.
Madam Mayor, there is, Code of Ordinances 30.07, the city council members decorum and debate that states council members should not indulge in personal attacks, use personally offensive language, arraign motives of councils or staff, charge deliberate misrepresentation, or use language tending to hold a member of the city council or staff up to contempt. And I don't believe it's talking about the public, it's talking about y'all. That's the only thing I could find there.
Right, so this is a letter, it's not someone's physically
So
signing.
that is clear.
So if this body chooses not to read it, that's up to this body.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I make the motion that we not allow this letter to be read.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Street and seconded by Councilmember Martin to not have the email by Jessica Sanchez to be read. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Abstain.
You can.
I can too.
Councilmember Apadaka, abstain. Councilmember Garza,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
Man, this is a situation.
No.
Councilmember Martin,
No.
Mayor Aldrich.
No. I thought you did too. Exactly. So Patty, with the 4 noes, the 1 yes, and the 2 abstains.
Statement is a felon.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Do we have, what is the requirement for a vote to pass?
Majority?
A majority, so 4 is a majority of senators. So no, well, actually, a yes would mean it passed, so it didn't pass. What was the motion?
To not allow the email to be read.
And so 4 people, one person voted to allow it to be read or not to be read?
Not to be read.
And so the other 4?
We have 4 to allow it to be read.
Okay, then it gets read.
Okay, so. No, okay. So today I was aware that one of your own council members was on school grounds for school activity. I am aware of his criminal background and that he is a registered sex offender from another state. Regardless how the state of Texas did not recognize him as a sex offender and did not have to register in our state for whatever reasons, I believe that he should have never been on school grounds, period, due to him being a sex offender. I have my own children, my niece and nephew, and grandchildren that still attend Hopkins Elementary. If it would have been any other registered sex offender, I know the school would have not allowed them to be on school grounds. So what I'm implying is that our school district, along with the city of Kirby, need to ban blank from being allowed to enter any building with children. And that being said, the city pool should be off limits too. I would be placing my concern to the Judson School District Judson Police Department, as well as the state of Texas Attorney General. I hope that Kirby residents do the same. A sex offender is a sex offender, no matter where the crime was committed. Thank you for taking the time to read my email, Ms. Sanchez. Now, before we start moving on to agenda items, I'm going to make a statement to Mr. Miller?
Let me take the podium so I can respond, please, Mayor.
Okay.
Conversation, Commissioner, all right.
All right, so, when we start calling agenda items, I know that you have signed up to speak at all. If you are going to speak at an agenda item, you will speak at the beginning of each agenda item. If the agenda item has started and you are not in the room, we are moving on.
Except that I will be speaking at the beginning of every single agenda item at your wish. Your wish is my command.
Okay. We are moving on to consideration of action and on minutes. Regular meeting minutes of March 9th, 2023. I will entertain a motion. Okay, we will move the minutes, the regular meeting minutes for March 9th to our next meeting on the 27th. Now, I will entertain a motion for the regular meeting minutes for March 23rd, 2023.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the minutes, the regular meeting minutes, March 23rd, 2023.
It's gonna get good soon.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Apodaca, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Greider, to accept the regular meeting minutes of March 23rd, 2023. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Apodaca,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Abstain.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
No.
Councilmember Walzett,
No.
Mayor Aldrich.
Yes. The meeting minutes for March 23rd, 2023 have passed.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, do I have to reason for my abstaining? I mean,
No, because you were absent.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you're reading
And thank you for cleaning that. Okay, moving on, 7A, the individual has chose not to, go forward with his, with the zoning, issue. And he will stay with the zoning issue that he was approved for in the past. Next, we have 7B, update and discussion on street zipper project. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
So I was talking to two council people, and I will not say their names. But the Friendship Park area, correct me if I'm wrong, the Friendship Park area that was paved, I was told cost $50,000. And I just thought that the residents needed to know how much that cost. And it was explained to me that the zipper was used. And it was explained to me how there's other equipment that we're renting to utilize the zipper. And a large portion of that cost was the utilization of rental equipment. And so Councilman, the one in the blue shirt there on the right, he says that he's on point looking at some Army or federal surplus equipment to maybe purchase in lieu of renting equipment. And he described some particular pieces of equipment to me. I questioned him about it. And I researched those particular pieces of equipment. I can't really remember the nomenclature of them right now, but you know, the cost associated with buying the federal surplus stuff is significantly lower than I would estimate 2 jobs worth of rental equipment. And I'm prior military myself. I'm a military veteran. And I worked on, vehicles as the military assigns duties to maintain vehicles. Some of us that have been in the military would remember the Preventive Maintenance Checks and Services, PFCS. And my point is that, my God, man, if we weren't running PT, if we weren't saluting losers, the ones with the yellow, the lieutenants, second lieutenants, and we weren't eating at the chow hall, and we were maintaining our vehicles. My point is that, and that's no joke, we maintained our vehicles every day. We changed out tires when they didn't need to be changed out. We changed out oil when they didn't need to be changed out, just because Army regulations said it had to be done. My point is that this equipment, although it's old and it doesn't look as pretty as this rental stuff, this stuff is meticulously maintained by the military. So I would, I think that person who mentioned that to me, that council member, certainly, y'all get together. Let's all get on the same boat. It doesn't have to be his idea. It could be everybody get on that same boat, and maybe we can get some surplus equipment in here and save the city some money, which in turn equivalates to more money for more street repair, right? So thank you.
Mr. Garza, this is your item, so run ahead.
I just wanted to make a few corrections on this stuff. Friendship Park actually ran, what, $20,000, just to be sure that everybody's aware of that. It was Jakey, they ran $50,000, correct? Just wanted to make sure that that's also the utilization of the rental equipment. The $50,000 that we did utilize for Jakey was including equipment, including the topping, including everything. And it was about 1,000 feet, is that correct? 1,300 feet. So just to kind of give everybody an idea of what the silver machine actually can do and what we're actually spending to do that type of stuff. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of the exact amounts of what we're actually putting out. So, yeah.
It was approximately $4,000. Not an exorbitant amount of money.
Councilmember Martin?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I had asked one of the questions up here. The biggest part of that project was asphalt, it was $39,200. So the other $8,000 went on fuel, everything else.
Councilmember Walsick?
I believe we've discussed this before. There are cities that would like to partner with us, and they have the other equipment, and we have the zipper. They are willing to pay us, and in turn, we could use that money to buy the equipment that we need in order to have our own. Is that correct?
Yes, me.
Yes, I'm asking you.
It's correct that we have talked to other cities about this.
Yes.
Absolutely. And this is discussion that's happened, I believe, the mayor.
More than once.
Yeah, she's had discussions with people in New Berlin and.
Yeah, and so I think that we need to take a good hard look. We can make money with this machine and end up getting the funds for those the government machinery that we would need, that we would own all on our own, and it benefits everybody.
I also believe that we should discuss the streets that, you know, we could take in on about like 1,000-foot increments or close to, just like JP, that we should make determinations on certain streets that are up and coming. Because I know we had talked about, it was JP, and then we talked about Hazen, and then we were discussing, what was it? Swan, yes. But the thing is, Swan is, what, a mile long? It's really far. So if we were to take things in 1,000-foot increments, we could actually attack some of the biggest potholes, the biggest problems, the biggest dips that we have in the city of Kirby, and actually maneuver our zipper machine to flatten out those surfaces and maybe take even Swan in 1,000-foot increments as we decide, hey, this is the next worst part. Because there are other streets like Hickory Hill that I'm sure we get, or that last part, the old sack part of Hickory Hill needs, you know, to come look at. Any of those manhole covers where they're 3 to 6 inches, I think we really should consider doing those streets for a lot of other ones. So I don't know if you guys had any types of streets in mind as far as lists go, but I think we should discuss those things.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder,
I apologize, I don't have that list that we had, do you have that list? Can I see it?
Which one?
The street.
Assessment list?
Yes, that,
The one that's 5 years old now?
that.
I don't have it on me.
Okay. I was just curious, what was the next street after?
I don't want to talk
Oh,
about
that
it.
shit.
Well, I waited, you got it. We had talked in council about Swan being the next one. And the section that I thought we were gonna talk about would be between Allen Shepherd to Telegraph. That crosses the bridge, that really bad section. Of course, we take the bridge part out, we don't do the bridge, but on either side of the bridge, it's, 1,325 feet, which is about the same length as Jenkins. So it would be approximately the same price. Crest is another main through street between Gordon Cooper and Borchers. It's about 623 feet. That also has a bridge involved. I subtracted the bridge width out. Autumn between Kazan and Petrie, horrible piece of road. That's 588 feet. There's also that piece of Ackerman from down by the school, from the city limit sign towards the school on the right-hand lane. That's really bad. You can just do that one side, and that's only about 200 feet.
How about Old Seguin Road?
There are many other places. This is just something for us to look at for the next 3 places we might want to consider. I did the measurements just so we can compare, because we know how much it costs to do the 1,300 feet per chain.
Councilmember Martin.
And I just want to add to, so the citizens understand. You have your supporters and you have your people that are against it. They keep throwing out there this different machine, we paid $200,000. We've already fixed two streets, and we haven't made a payment at all. We've used them 2 streets, we ain't made a payment at all. We don't make a payment until September or October, and it's $50,000. So when they tell you we blew $200,000 on this, then we can pay it off at one time. And so we're probably gonna fix in maybe 3 or 4 streets before we make a payment. Anyways, when it's saved. But Janky was gonna cost us $127,000. We hired a contractor. We did it for $47,000. That's all I gotta say. That proves the point right there, how good the machine is and else.
Okay, so let's stay on track. This is talking about the plan for future streets.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Councilmember Garza.
I remember there was a meeting a long while back where a gentleman came in, and I believe he owned, or he was part of the apartments on Explorer, or Telstar is like it's right across from DT1 stop. And okay. So he had stated a long time ago, this was before I was in council, he had stated that they were trying to get that portion fixed. He was asking for a 100-year lease, or he was asking for some type of reimbursement because it was a city street, and it actually is. If you look it up, it's a city street, even though it runs straight into their stuff. I wanted to know if there was any way that we might be
Public street.
able to partner
It's got a public street sign on it.
Ask him if he'd be willing to pay for certain portions of it, and we provide you with the equipment to do all the zipping and the manpower to do it, and then have, if he would be willing to spend a little bit of money to do the topping, or to maybe, cut it with us, or do something of that nature to help build that area, because they do have red potholes there, and I feel really bad because he can't actually do anything to it, because it is a city street, so we would have to actually address it. I don't remember exactly the guy's name, I'm sure we can find it in the
Yeah, well,
minutes.
that would have to be an actual agreement between him and the city.
Okay, but it is something that is possible.
The council would vote on.
Okay, but that is possible, is what I'm asking.
I would say yes. Mayor Pro Tem Prater.
I want to say, I think that's a wonderful idea. I actually was over there yesterday evening, and there's like, I don't even know what you want to call them potholes anymore. It's like sinkhole size on that under this court, and I think that, I mean, I understand, in inner street, I mean, they're a part of our city, so we do need to consider that. And when I say those holes, if anybody hasn't been through there, I'm saying it's really bad, really bad.
Yeah, the asphalt is so bad, there's chunks of asphalt out of it that are like this big, just huge chunks.
I'm also thinking, that it might be useful if we were to do something of that nature, you know, and we did discuss this with him, and maybe he was willing to pay for portions of it. We could actually do that part right there in front of Dick Gordon and all the way to, Buzz Aldrin, because there is a big manhole that's like 3-4 inches deep, that's a big, you know, jump, and there's a dip right there as well. So, I mean, maybe we could, you know, have him, you know, help get the equipment there, since it's already there, we can do this section, and then just do that little section, like 1,000 feet of that section, to kind of handle that piece right here. Because there is one piece of Buzz Aldrin that is very, you know, wobbly, and I would love to do all of Buzz Aldrin as well, but because Aldrin is another major thoroughfare, just like Autumn is just like, Diadem, another major one. But just like all of those. But, you know, like I say, I think what we can do is hopefully take the biggest sections and take 1,000 feet sections possibly, and really just take out the parts that are just huge dips and potholes and those types of things, and then we'll start stitching them all together. It's an idea, but like I say, I mean, obviously we'd like to reach out to one of these guys and figure out if they'd be willing, and if that was the case, maybe we could keep the machinery in that same vicinity. And that was just an idea.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I think we should involve Frank, our Public Works Director, Councilmember Street.
Madam Mayor, how do you want to go about us choosing the next 3 streets?
Um,
I have just one more thing.
Go ahead, Councilmember
Okay.
Garza.
Another thing I would like to see is, even if we are starting to choose streets, I think that if we were to implement, putting the streets like for a vote on the water bill, so we give every household an opportunity to vote on which street they want, and we give, you know, put it back in the citizen table. Let them make determinations of what they want, and we basically tally up the votes that are turned into the water bill. You know, if you turn it in, great, if you don't, that's okay. But we can tally it up, and whatever is chosen on that end, it automatically picks 1,000-foot section of street for us. I think that would be something great too, because we could incorporate the citizens to help make that decision as well. So I just think that might be something else we might consider.
We could do that, but I think that we should come up with a list and then take it to our interim city manager to involve our Public Works Director. And then on our next agenda, we should discuss which streets we want to propose to them to be fixed by December.
So, Madam Mayor, you're saying that we should maybe each send in 3 streets that we think to
Yes,
the city manager?
If you have the floor.
Thank you.
Wow. Yes,
Yeah, and then let her take that to her.
yes, ma'am. Okay, does everybody get that? Okay. All right. Yes, yes, sir.
I give permission
Second motion.
make a motion to let this go.
Second.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Garza, to allow Ms. Lozano to speak. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcadata,
Yes.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Breyer,
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge.
Yes, it is passed to allow Ms. Lozano to speak. Please approach the podium.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Council members, Maria Lozano, 5203 Allen Bean. I like the idea of, the zipper and all that and using it for the city streets. But I'm just wondering if anybody has had a chance to go to the Friendship Park to look at that initial testing site that they did, to see, how that asphalt is now, cracking, opening up. There's areas where the water is not pooling whenever it rains, it pools. And so I'm wondering how that is not going to happen on these other streets that we are doing now. Janky, I know that it's, been fixed and all, but how long is that going to last? Did we look into it? I know that you have to lay a base on it and make sure, again, the sewers and all that, the sidewalks, everything is incorporated into the building of that street. So it sounds like these are Band-Aids, but it's a temporary solution. So I'm wondering what long-term plans you have to make sure that what's happening at Friendship Park doesn't start happening at Yankee Street, and we don't have to go back and fix that, and we don't have to go back and fix any other streets that come up that we fix. Thank you.
Councilmember Watson?
Okay, first of all, that was our test site, and I believe Chief was going to answer that question. She was also there that day, and Mr. Martin also understood the play in that. So Chief, would you be so kind as to answer that question as to what happened at Friendship Park and what the reasoning for it was?
There was some level of damage created, not intentionally, but as the fire engine pulled up on the Friendship Park area where it had been fixed and revitalized, and it created an indentation from the tire. After inspection with Public Works, it was several places that looked like it was bubbling up and there was moisture in the ground. Per Public Works, they said they believed at that time that there might have been a leak, but we have not located one. They did say the soil is soaked underneath there, and also keep in mind that this is the first piece of patch that they worked on as a trial. Their solution is to probably go with the zipper again and definitely pack it a lot. They have to go a lot deeper and pack it with a different kind of material.
Councilmember Garza?
I'd also like to ask on that piece of property, when we did actually utilize the zipper, since it was a parking lot, unlike Janky, when we did Janky, we crowned it on the top and then we made it to where the water could go off. In that area, did we actually crown it so that it would only fall to one side?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Because it could have been something of that nature where they were trying to show them on the ground and maybe it's sticking to this area where they tried either did that or they didn't ground it at all, therefore water staying on top of it.
No. What I was saying about water or moisture is underneath the asphalt, not on top. And when you walk on it, it actually bends. It's underneath, it's the soil underneath.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Moving on to agenda item C, discussion of possible action on multi-assistant center at Morgan Wonderland non-exclusive service agreements. Chief Hilbert?
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor, citizens of Kirby. I'd like to introduce Ms. Patton with Morgan Wonderland, and then the Vice President, Ms. Goldman. My apologies. Also with Morgan Wonderland.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sarah Patton, and this is Janet Garland, our Vice President with the Multi-Assistant Center. And we proposed to Kirby Fire Department an agreement to partner with us, become formal partners with the Multi-Assistant Center. So our mission and our goal is to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities and special needs. So it's an extension of Morgan's Wonderland, the first ultra-accessible theme park within Morgan's Inclusion Initiative. So through this partnership, we are looking to provide safety, education, and resources for our community, not only in San Antonio, but Bexar County and surrounding areas as well. So through the meetings that we've had and conversations with Kirby Fire, this is something that we are now proposing to you in terms of proceeding with a formal agreement. Since we have started, just to give some context as well, we are partnering with San Antonio Fire Department currently, and they have since received 30 referrals from our navigation team within the Multi-Assistance Center to help work one-on-one with our community members living with special needs and disabilities to do home evaluations and check smoke alarms and fire extinguishers and things like that to help prepare them for in the event of those emergencies. So this would be an extension of that service and that program within the Multi-Assistance Center.
We currently do that now, do we not, Madam Mayor? I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead, Councilmember Walzek. Chief, we don't currently do this within our city now, do we?
We have, just as a courtesy, we have done 2 inspections through this program already, and what happens is we San Antonio Fire gets notified of a resident in Kirby that would like a home inspection. San Antonio reaches out to us, we do the home inspection, we reach out back to San Antonio. They put notes into the system to allow the physicians and the staff to know that one, it was done, the family needs a wheelchair or something that we have found or was not voiced. What this agreement does is take San Antonio out of it, and I work directly with the MAC office.
All right, Councilmember, I know, you've spoken. Councilmember Street, it's your turn.
Thank you. Do we have the personnel to do this?
We do it already with the 5 personnel that we have. The only thing that this takes place is it allows me to have the access through the MAC office to have direct contact.
Is there any cost associated with this?
No, so with our electronic platform that we give them access to, we would give them a free user for that. Okay. So there would be no cost to that.
Thank you, Councilmember Walzek.
Do we have to go through you, or do we have to go through them? Because I'm sure that's something Chief would do if we called him up and asked him, any of our
Who are you
citizens.
saying is them?
Okay.
Because he's already said that if we approve this, he can work directly with Mr. and not have to go through the city of San Antonio.
Well, I'm saying, does Chief, don't you currently do this with your fire department no matter what?
We do. The only difference is I do not notify the MAC office when it's done. If we get the referral to San Antonio, I have to notify San Antonio that we've completed it and what we have found.
Okay, so all they're asking you to do is sign an agreement that you don't have to mess with San Antonio. Are they the ones that are going to give you the people that you need to check?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do they get that list in Kirby?
Through volunteers, not volunteers, through individuals going through the MAC office to get their physicians all in one place, get their care in one place. They are notified of their address, and they are asked, do you need assistance from the fire department? Do you need a home inspection? If they say yes, they reach out to the local fire department. In this case, it would be San Antonio. San Antonio looks up the address. That's the city of Kirby. They send a couple of emails, make a few phone calls. We get the information.
So us approving this agreement, it takes the city of San Antonio out of it. I think it's a benefit for our citizens that need assistance.
I do, and that's what my goal is our citizens that do need assistance, but I didn't know that we have to go through them to get to you. This is my concern, this extra step that just got thrown in.
Well, if a citizen of Kirby has disability or non-disabled and wants to have a home inspection, we'll be happy to do it. The thing with the MAC office, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is if they're already going through the MAC office for it to get all their physicians in one place, they're already there. It's just notifying me that, hey, they may need some assistance. They also have, what is it, partners?
Hi. So, we have families that come through the MAC. They go through a comprehensive assessment where we look at lots of areas of their life. So we look at their home environment, their education, and part of that home environment that we look at is if they have any sort of safety resources. And if they don't, and they didn't know that a lot of times people don't know that they can notify the fire department directly. And so it's just additional education that we're providing to them and then connecting them. And so they're coming to us for all of our services, but as we do the assessment, we can identify these emergency needs and then reach out to the fire department and police referrals. Is there any more discussion?
I have one question.
Councilmember Martin?
Because the contract, he says fees. $270 per license.
Correct, that's for any additional license, but we provide the first one free.
All right, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. If there is no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the agreements. Okay. That we accept the agreement, on the multi-assisted center and Workers Wonderland with the non-exclusive service agreements.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Garza, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Greider, to accept the multi-assistant center Morgan's Wonderland non-exclusive service agreement. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Wassett,
No.
Councilmember Alpadaka,
Yes.
Mayor Aldrich.
Yes. The multi-assistant center at Morgan's Wonderland non-exclusive service contract has been approved. Thank you.
I'll get that. I'll get it to them.
Moving on to agenda item D, discussion and possible action on Axiom agreement for 5 additional in-car cameras. This is Chief Carterman.
All right, council, this might sound familiar. It came originally to the crime prevention, district, that is currently without a treasurer right now. We had put this on the budget for crime prevention back before, I think it was, before October, I believe, of this fiscal year. During that time, I was led to believe, and I believe that I had a whole contract that had all the equipment we needed, and I had presented that. Apparently there was some miscommunication, and we ordered only one. And at this time, after I've been discussing, and Alonzo also helping me, we've been discussing back and forth with Axon on the resolution, because we've been waiting a year, and we're coming up on installation for one car. They were willing to work with us and provide us all of the cameras that we need, given that we pay them $1,000 upfront, and I get approval that I will pay this in one way or another. Doesn't necessarily mean through the general budget, but through maybe crime prevention, when we get that back open, the full amount. Whether it is going to be $22,000 for the year or $64,000 for the 5, for the totality cost of the equipment. Now, all I'm requesting from council is I need an agreement to allow this and push this through, or we're not gonna have any in-car cameras come beginning of May. Except for one.
Okay, Chief, what is the status on finding a finance director?
We're still pending on that.
Okay. So crime control can't meet because we don't have a finance director.
We can meet, we just can't accomplish the goals without someone who's gonna be balancing the books.
Gotcha. Okay. Councilmember Street.
So let me just make this clear then. So we just have to, you want us to be able to give you
or allow the $1,000 payment like earnest money? Is that what you're looking at?
Well, that part I can pay on my own. My concern is the contract. Once I sign it and provide this equipment, there's gonna be an expectation of payment. This is a contract I can't do without y'all. So, we're not double paying, they just, we only ever bought one camera.
So where is this $64,000 going to come from?
So my goal is that it comes out of the crime prevention.
Okay. But you need $1,000 today, sort of.
Well, no, I can pay that. I have that right now in my own budget.
Okay.
So what I need is an agreement.
Approval for the whole thing.
Correct. So we can move forward.
Okay. Councilmember Watson.
Correct me if I'm wrong, we did not have a finance director for a good while. And Monique took care of that for the crime control. So why is it specific now to having to have a CFO in order to get this paid through crime control? When Monique did it herself, when there was no CFO.
Because our interim city manager doesn't have experience with finance.
She's also the police chief.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I also noticed that this was broke down into years. You're only going to get so many systems.
Well, so the in-car cameras are, it's not a body camera, so it's just an in-car camera to replace
Right.
the watch guard system that is failing. We've had watch guard for over 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, and it's the same system, the DVRs are going down. That's why the whole point was to replace all of my vehicles, but the invoice only had one. They recognized it was a misunderstanding. They're actually getting it started at the beginning of May. They're gonna install them all, as long as this is agreed upon. I paid them $1,000 a minute.
Okay, because see, I was looking at these different dates of the description of what it was, and they all had different years. But you're now telling me that they're gonna do them all at once.
They're gonna fix that whole situation all at once. They're gonna give us all the cameras in the beginning of May. Now, the breakdown that you see is if you wanted to take your time paying it. That's all that is. It's just a payment plan. You can pay for the equipment outright. You can pay for the year or the month, or however you want to do it. It can be done that way. So let's say we don't, and they are fully understanding our situation with crime prevention right now. This is something that has already been, should have been approved by crime prevention, that was originally they're doing, and this was missed. If not, if we don't get this signed, I'm gonna have to wait another year.
Councilmember Martin.
I just have one question.
Go ahead, Councilmember Garza.
I just want to make sure that, again, you're saying this payment plan, so let's just say however it runs and crime control decides, whatever, we've already signed this contract, so we're just gonna have to come out of our city budget, if that's the case, right? We're trying to avoid that, but my point is if that were to happen, it would be $12,798 per year for these years, correct?
That's right.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Go ahead, Councilmember Martin.
I'd like to move we accept that we can lay Axon to the 5 additional park cameras.
We have a motion on the table by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Street, to accept the agreement with Axion, accept the Axion agreement for the 5 additional in-car cameras. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Street?
Yes.
Councilmember Walton?
Yes.
Councilmember Apodaca?
Yes.
Councilmember Garza?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ryder?
Yes.
Mayor Aldridge?
Yes. The Axion agreement for 5 additional in-car cameras has passed. Moving on to agenda item B, update and discussion on Amazon through traffic and possible code violations. Chief Cardona.
All right, so this is being brought up because of the concerns that some of the citizens spoke about today, and also council members, in reference to noise complaints at the Amazon warehouse. Also flashing of lights unreasonably so, and just the noise in general. I did get a hold of Jessica, and I don't want to, God forgive me for butchering her French name, but it's Bro, I think it is, Bro. And she stated she was not gonna be available today, but she did want to meet with either, see y'all or talk to y'all, either by yourselves or in a council meeting, she can do that too, but today she was not available.
Give her time and I will meet with her
Yes, sir.
if she cannot attend a council meeting.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Garza.
There have been a lot of statements made about what's going on with the Amazon, behind the houses there on Wheatland. So if anything, I would like to be able to at least, let you know some of the concerns that I've heard or any of that nature, if you are gonna meet with somebody. Beyond that, I think it would be good if we had any contact, not only for us, but that the residents might be able to reach out to state if they are having an issue, so at least there's somebody at Amazon that might be able to listen to them as well.
Now, one of the things she did mention, because we get a lot of, I just got today, thankfully, sometimes for 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, so that was super helpful, I didn't have that before. But one of the, I think she was just informed by me that we don't have jurisdiction in that area. We have jurisdiction in ours. And so she said she's more than willing to work something out and figure out what the solution could be. She asked us if we could patrol, and I'm like, okay. That was something we need to discuss for the future. So if that means
That is outside our city limits.
we can't, well, one of the thing is that the complaints that we're getting are noise, obviously, things like, in that nature, the ordinances and it's specific to our municipality that will not or cannot be enforced in San Antonio. It does not apply.
Have you contacted anybody from code enforcement within the city of San Antonio?
Not yet, ma'am.
Have you contacted anybody from the East Side Patrol for the city of San Antonio?
No, ma'am.
And I'm the city council person, Jalen McKee. He should be involved as well.
What was his name?
Jalen McKee.
Did you go?
All right. Councilmember Wilson.
Thank you. I have also gotten in touch with the regional director of the coalition against bigger trucks that are going through small towns. And they are doing good work to keep big trucks and heavy trucks out of small cities such as ours. And she has sent me a lot of information. Once I have it broken down, I will get that out to everybody. And there's some legislation coming up to help reinforce this. So just so you know.
Moving on to item F, discussion and update on the Kirby Senior Center audit report.
Council, wait, before we get to that point, sorry, I'm trying to get, I'm not gonna talk about it.
Well, Chief, before you go into, do what you need to do, I'm going to allow Mr. Miller to speak on his agenda item.
Yes, ma'am.
Jack Miller, 4839 Dick Gordon, it's D-I-C-K. On agenda item number F, discussion and update on the Kirby Senior Center audit report. Well, what I got to say about that is going to be kind of half butt, can I say butt? Half butt. And because I really don't know what's going to be said about it, so it's unfortunate I have to talk in the beginning, but nevertheless, Kirby Senior's audit report, we need one of those. We need an audit report. We do need an audit report. I think there's some allegations of something, I don't remember the following, but some type of, I don't know, theft or embezzlement or robbing or training, I don't know what's going on over there, but nevertheless, there's some kind of criminal investigation going on, and some allegations being thrown around and about the Kirby Senior Center. And I think an audit report would serve to prevent things from that happening in the future. It would both prevent any misproprieties that are happening, and it would also prevent folks from making false allegations, because they could access the audit report and they could see all the money. I'm assuming that this is, an audit report is about money. I don't know what else it would be about, maybe chicken, cooking chicken, I don't know, but nevertheless, an audit report would be, at the time.
Still have 5 minutes, Jack, I forgot about it.
That's all right, let's subtract 2 minutes. Can we subtract
He's
2
already
minutes?
been speaking for 2.
There we go, 2 minutes sounds good to me, so I'm not good at math, I have a GED from Highlands. How much time do I have? Well, I 2 minus 5, 3, right? And then that's 456, that's confusing.
It won't let me correct it, so.
Okay, all right.
Come on.
240. All right, 240? Somebody gets to 240 on time?
No, it's not 2 minutes ago.
And when it gets down to 2 minutes. Okay, great. So anyway, back to the senior center audit report on agenda item F. We need an audit report at the senior center. It both would prevent future malfeasance from occurring, and it would also prevent folks from having lodged false allegations, because they would be able to see an audit report. Regarding the Kirby Senior Center audit report, I was only going to speak briefly on it, and then probably not at all if I was able to hear what everybody else had to say, but unfortunately I couldn't, so I just have to give it my best shot right now at the beginning. So, again, regarding the Kirby Senior Center, say that 10 times twice, Kirby Senior Citizen Center audit report, we need one of those. It would both prevent malfeasance from occurring in the future. I'm sorry, I used malfeasance already. It would prevent criminal activity from happening in the future. It would also prevent people from filing false or allegations with our police department and wasting their time and taxpayer resources investigating unicorns, because the citizen doesn't have access to information needed to get to a hypothesis about whether criminal activity is occurring or not. And we definitely need that audit report, so thank you for your time.
All right, Chief Cardona, you're up.
I would suggest that when if anybody in council wants an update on that, we can't have any,
Force me to talk at the beginning of an agenda item. I will waste your motherfucking time.
Does anybody else have anything to say with this agenda? I don't know. Sorry.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, when citizens speak to me, get your stuff together. I don't know what year the audit report currently is. I know there is one. I know that they received it in September. I don't know when it was done, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to get in the middle of a cockfight and act like an adult. No more name calling. Don't drag me into your stuff. Okay? That's the bottom line. Now, I do not know the latest audit report or year it was. I do know that you can go to the senior center and see it. I know you can't, sir, because you're man. I get it. But you do have available people that can take photocopies of it for you. And you are right. I do not know what year this audit is.
She's talking to him.
I would like that answer. Alone. Is it 2001? Is it 2022? That's all I want to know. I don't know. I don't care. But I'm asking the question. And the next time I get put in the middle of a cockfight, I'm going to explode. Get that straight.
Can you ask that question for me, please?
I asked, what year is the audit report that you have? That's all I want to know. Is it 2001, 2022?
I already told you, I don't have to answer your no.
There shouldn't be an audit every year.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider.
Those are the two senior citizens that were arguing earlier.
What, so we can't see the audit report? So where is the audit report? We don't have any copies of the audit report?
We do not. At this time, council cannot, they can request and ask those questions, it's perfectly fine, based on what the attorney, I apologize.
Time's
I
up.
don't have your time right.
Your time's up.
They are not, they don't have to answer if they don't want to. They have no obligation to.
Correct.
As far as in reference to their audit being public, that's still under review by our attorneys, and we're gonna hold that answering off just for now, until we can get a better understanding.
That's the police chief acting
So
city
they don't
manager.
have to provide the audit to us, they don't have to provide the budget. So even if we just go up there and ask for a copy of it, they don't have to give a copy of any of that information?
We will have answers to those questions.
Okay.
Um,
I just don't understand what's so secretive about the
Well,
audit.
there's nothing.
That's the city attorney.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking
My
me.
question is,
Somebody's hiding something, obviously.
I'm just,
It should be audited every
Point of order, please.
I'm confused on why we can't see the audit report in this, I mean, I don't understand what's the big deal, I just,
You can see it.
well, it's not here.
Okay, Councilmember.
This shit getting good.
You may go to the senior center, and ask to see any document they have that pertains to this subject. Okay? They do not have to produce it for the city because they are not a part of the city. They are not required to give the city their audit. But that is the question that the lawyer is now mulling over. They have not decided yet whether or not our ordinance that says accounts of the city applies to the senior center, although the senior center is not a part of the city. They don't get any money from the city, they don't have any dealing to the city other than they occupy the building and lease it from the city, and the council votes on their board members, that's all. So if you want to see it, you may go to the senior center and ask to see it. That is not a problem for them, but you have to go to the senior center and do it. Thank you.
Councilmember Martin.
I'd like to make a motion to let Ms. Bogart speak.
I second that motion.
She doesn't need a motion, she's part of the senior center.
All right.
Go ahead, Ms. Bogart.
I was just waiting to get in and have a turn. So I'm the vice president of the senior center, and there is no secrecy to an audit or any audits. We will disclose anything that we have. And Ms. Greider, you've been to the senior center many times. You've actually been in the office, so there's no secrecy.
She's
So, I
also
mean,
running for city council.
No, but you've been there, so that's a question that you can ask. When anybody,
I'll do that
any
tomorrow.
citizens, but it is the 2021 budget because we are in works of getting the books straight because when there was a change of initial management, the books to the finances were in disarray. And there are those allegations that are out there that those books are, let me just stick with disarray. And so an audit is only done, as you're all familiar with, is what we give them. We want to make sure that we are being 100% transparent and
This is a
giving
highly
them
contentious
all
issue.
correct, accurate information, which means we, as a board, need to get to the bottom of that budget before anybody else sees it. And that's what we are in the process of doing. So there's no secrets, and anybody who is welcome and allowed to come to the center is always free to come ask questions, look at the minutes. I mean, it's open, and I encourage everybody, citizens who are really interested in the center, to come and volunteer because we need it. You're not doing it for the board members that sit up there, you're doing it for the seniors who need the talking to, playing games, bingo, calling the bingo numbers. So it's beyond board members, it's what you're gonna do for the center and not just talk about it. I mean, so let me end with, we are.
Councilmember Garza, did you have something to bring up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask, when we were making the decisions to do the ADA compliance, I was pretty sure that what we were coming up with was that we were just a landlord. I kept hearing that that's how it just kept saying, that we are just a landlord. So, I mean, obviously they're not for profit. They have to answer to their funders, the people funding them, I'm sure. And again, if, you know, they'd like to see it, we gotta follow the rules of those entities.
Right.
But I just don't see how it pertained to the city and the idea that we were just a landlord. I mean, it was not even a month ago, we were literally saying, we are just a landlord here. And now it's like, we need the audit, we need the budget, we need all this other stuff. And it was like, wait a minute, I mean, they're an entity. And I'm trying to understand that piece.
Okay, so here's where the confusion comes, okay? Yes, the senior center is its own entity and is not a part of the city of Kirby. But there is an ordinance that conflicts things, and that is what the lawyer.
Sorry, I didn't bring my tripod today. I didn't expect to stand this long.
Lead us on.
Can we get a number for that ordinance real quick so I can look it up?
It's 7.10.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider.
And so do we need to put this on the next, so is there gonna be an answer by the next council meeting?
Charlie does okay.
Okay, so we can put that on the next council meeting then again.
And if I just might add, the senior center is never opposed to a donation from the city. We'll take that. We need money, we need fundraisers, we need funds to run that center. It's not ran off everyone's goodwill. If it was, we'd be rich. And we'll turn over everything gladly at any time. We'll sit down. So if you can work on that too. Thank you. I believe in That's correct.
I'd like to make a motion to let Mr. Rumble speak.
There is a motion on the table by Councilmember Garza, seconded by Councilmember Martin, to allow Mr. Robbins to speak. City Secretary, please call roll.
Councilmember Garza,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Greider,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Street,
Yes.
Councilmember Walzett,
Yes.
Councilmember Papadopoulou, yes, Mayor Aldridge.
Yes, it has been approved to allow Mr. Robbins to speak. Please make your way to the podium.
A simple question that I would ask one of the council members to ask. Has an audit been conducted for fiscal year 2022? That would be the fiscal year ending 30 September for the Kirby Senior Center. If not, why not? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Moving on to item G, discussion and possible action on designating an acting city manager. Go ahead, Mr. Miller.
What agenda item are we
Can
on?
you start the clock, please?
Start the clock, Chief. Hurry up. I got things to say. Please. Thank you. What item are we on?
Finding a city manager.
Is that what, G? Jack Miller, 4839 Dick Gordon. That's D-I-C-K. Oh, yeah, designating. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so, city manager, right? Discussion and possible action on designating an acting city manager. I thought we have one. Patty's the acting city manager? I thought the chief was.
I'm the interim.
Interim. Oh, that's right. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so appointing one. Again, having to talk at the beginning of this agenda item, I have no clue what's going on. I don't. So I'm just going to wing it here. That's what I have to do. Thank you, Mayor. I got to wing it. I could probably get up here and talk for 10 seconds on this, but I'll just spend 5 minutes of winging it to make sure I cover every possible avenue. So, designating an acting city manager, what does that mean? Okay, so yeah, that's important to do. It's important to do. designating an acting city manager. An acting city manager's job in our city is extremely important. Probably, I would think, one of the most important jobs in this city. I mean, that's the manager. Not much different than the manager at McDonald's. And we know that when a manager at McDonald's doesn't do their job appropriately, or the McDonald's hires the wrong type of manager, maybe they hire a Mexican restaurant manager that don't know nothing about Big Macs, your Big Mac's gonna be jacked up. Same thing goes with the city manager. You hire a city manager that is not up to par, your city is gonna turn into be a big jacked up Big Mac. And we don't want that. I would suggest that we hire another black woman or appoint another black woman as city manager, because the last black woman we had that was city manager was 110% the best city manager that we've ever had in the history of Kirby, Texas, in my opinion. I don't know if that had to do with her being black or not, but as a man who loves my black goddesses, I imagine it has something to do with it. So I would suggest another black woman as a city manager if y'all are going to designate someone. Let's see here. What else is there? That's it. On this agenda item, it would have been nice to have reserved my comments on this agenda item at the end, so I could be more efficient. But I have to do the best I can with the tools I have. Thank you for your time.
Okay, moving on with discussion of possible action on designating an acting city manager. This is basically for the council, to get to appoint this, right, Chief?
So based on our ordinance, Article 3 Administrative Service, Section 3.01 says city manager. It states on here, the city manager within 60 days after taking office shall designate by the letter of
Okay, guys. Hey, listen, guys, listen. Listen, guys, thank y'all for joining. Look, I got to give it to the mayor. She didn't try to stop me from speaking, which was the whole reason I came here in the first place. The mayor and her cronies were trying to stop people from speaking whenever they would say things that they felt was irrelevant or stupid or dumb. These are words that they used in response to citizens talking, not my words. So that's why I came here in the first place. And tonight I said a lot of dumb things. I said a lot of ignorant things. I said a lot of irrelevant things. And what I'm looking for is, are they going to continue to try to censor that type of speech? Because we need to empower people to come up here and talk. And it doesn't matter if they're dumb, stupid, or irrelevant.
Trying to get some
we need to empower them to come and talk, right? And speak and get involved with their city and learn and build. So that's what I'm doing here. That's the reason for all that bullshit. Now, tonight, what happened was, in the past, I would I want to talk on an agenda item, right? And there was no real rule. Can you hold this and film me? And I'm gonna talk to the audience right quick. We're gonna call this a night, but I'm gonna talk to you guys first. No, that's not so far away.
Your whole head is in here.
Well, zoom out. Let me see. You know how to zoom out? It's kind of finicky. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Oh wait. Gotta turn it around right quick. And then like this. Okay, that should be good. All right. Good now?
Yeah.
I'm afraid they're not gonna get the audio. So in the past, I forgot what I was saying. What was I talking about?
Cockfighting.
No, cockfighting. I'll get to the cockfighting in a minute. Fuck, man. Oh yeah. So in the past, right? If people want to talk on an agenda item, you have to sign up, but there was really no rule on how to recognize someone. And what was happening was, if the meeting was moving really fast, sometimes I myself would I'd not realize we're fixing to move on to the next agenda item, because I'm trying to be polite and wait my turn, and I'm trying to hear what other people are saying, because a lot of times I may have something to say about an agenda item, and then somebody else gets up and speaks, and then boom, they took the wind right out of my sails. They talked about whatever concern I had as a citizen, and I didn't need to say anything. So I didn't even need to get up there and talk. And I figured that it would be sufficient to just raise my hand. I'm sitting down, I just put my hand up. As soon as I see the mayor or a council person see me, I put my hand down, right? They know I want to speak. And when they're done talking, they're going to say, hey, Mr. Miller would like to speak on the agenda item. But the mayor, in her infinite wisdom, decided to fuck with me on that. So there were times where she would be like, Mr. Miller, do you want to talk on the agenda item? I had not raised my hand. I had not talked on 3 or 4 other agenda items. Everything was fine, but she got to call me out. So then, of course, I got to get up and talk on the agenda item. Because she fucking with me. And that fucking with me is fine, but she had also been fucking with other citizens, and that's why I'm here. That's my problem. You can fuck with me all you want. I'm good with that. I'm going to play my games and have fun. But fucking with other citizens, you scare them away. You belittle them, you scare them away. They don't want to come up here and be involved. That's tyranny. That's tyranny. I came to stop it. So then I would and then the one time the mayor told me not to raise my hand anymore. I signed up on the agenda item, then I'll talk on the agenda item. And I'm like, but maybe I don't want to, right? Maybe I don't want to. So if I don't raise my hand, it's cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But this bitch gonna call me out anyway and continue to play fucking games with the whole agenda item speech because her pussy's still sore from back when I came in here and they were taking votes on whether or not to allow citizens to speak. And I came in here and made them understand that that was against Texas law. And I forced her to stop that shit immediately. She's still sore about that, so she wants to play agenda game items with me. Fine. So we had been moving on where I would basically just raise my hand, and as soon as she'd see me, I'd put it down. But I guess I don't know. Maybe she got some dick recently. I don't know. Her husband passed a year ago or so, and message to the mayor when you're watching this, and I know you watch me. It's been a year or so. It's okay for some new dick. But okay, I digress. Let me get back to the point. Tonight, surprise to me, out of the fucking blue, she decides to tell me that she noticed that I signed up on all the agenda items, and if I want to talk on an agenda item, I will talk at the beginning of the agenda item. There's no law that forces me to do that, but there is law that allows her to make that decision. That's the law. She can make that decision. They can make that designation. Complete bullshit in my fucking book, because every person up there knows why I want to talk at the end. And it's for efficiency. The main reason I want to talk at the end is for efficiency. Because to be honest with you, I would say 80% of the shit that I come up here to talk about, I end up not saying anything because other people say it already. Other citizens say it already, or council people they answer a question I may have, or whatever, or a concern that I have. That dumb bitch don't get that. And, I don't get it. She wants to play games, fine. We'll play fucking games. So what I did tonight, what y'all saw me do tonight, was in the face of tyranny from the mayor, forcing me to talk at the beginning, and she's up there smiling her fat fucking face when I'm talking about the whole issue about talking at the beginning. So, fuck you, Aldrich, for that. It don't bother me. It makes me happy. More money. Money. Thank you, Mayor. So then, so what I would do was I was getting up and just literally doing the best I could, having no knowledge of what anybody was going to say or whatever. And really, you understand what I'm saying? So I got up there and I exercised to my right to speak 5 minutes on agenda items. I know I didn't take the whole 5 minutes on each one, but I could have. And here's a message to Mayor Aldrich and the Kirby City Council. And I'm going to say Kirby City Council because you guys have the power to stop this bullshit. And forcing citizens to talk at the beginning just cause is bullshit. Perfectly within your rights and your powers. I'm not saying you can't do it. Council, mayor, I'm not saying you can't do it. But it's just continuing bullshit. The whole reason I came here in the first place, I really would like to stop coming to these fucking meetings. I got money to be made right now, and I'm not making it because I'm out here jacking with you and teaching you and educating you. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put it to you this way. What I did in there tonight was just a small sample. I know it was, oh man, here it goes again. Now we got to sit here and listen to him again, talk about nonsense and ridiculousness. But guess what? That's what you get. You asked for it. You asked for it by letting the mayor dictate when I was going to talk, when I was going to talk. Not anybody else. Jack Miller, right out of her mouth, singling me out. And the whole council sat there and didn't do shit. What could they have done? I don't know. I'm gonna research that shit. And I'll work to empower those council people to learn and be educated on the powers that they have and advocate for them to exercise those powers in the face of tyranny. When tyranny occurs on that city council, I want the council, other council people to empower themselves to do something about it. That's what we have them up there to do, amongst other things, is certainly uphold the Constitution, stand in the face of tyranny, and use their powers that they have as council people, use those tools that they have to stop that stuff. So in a nutshell, this was just a sample. I can bring 5, 6, 7 motherfuckers in here doing the same goddamn thing all night long. Okay? So, City of Kirby Council, what do you want? Ball's in your court. This is a message to Kirby City Council. Ball's in y'all's court. Do you want to hear me? Do you want to endure the hardship of seeing me raise my hand to talk and then talking on a couple agenda items? Or do you want me to speak on every motherfucking agenda item ever that you have for my full 5 minutes? I think tonight there were 18. How many agenda items were there?
I don't know.
I think there were like maybe, let's just say there were 15. What's 15 times 5? 5 times 5 is 25, 75. Tonight, would you rather me spent a total of 15 minutes talking on agenda items, or would you rather hear me speak for 75 fucking minutes worth? Your choice. I'm good. 15 minutes, 75 minutes, it's all good. But just remember, I bring one fin, that's 150 minutes. I bring 2 more friends, that's 300 minutes, right? Of listening to bullshit. Because make no mistake, if I come and I'm allowed to exercise my rights to speak on agenda items without interference, I'm gonna be to the point. I'm gonna talk about business. Yeah, I may say some funny shit sometime. Okay, yeah. But if you guys want to interfere with citizens or me talking on agenda items, it's on like fucking Donkey Kong. So balls in y'all's court. I'm trying to be reasonable here. What I would say is that y'all, Kirby Council, y'all should get a rule in place, get something in place, practices, whatever it is, which, you know, we sign up for agenda items. If you want to call on me every single time and ask me, that's fine. That's not necessary though. If I want to talk on an agenda item, you guys will know. The only reason I sign up is because y'all require it. I don't need to have my name on a piece of paper to talk on an agenda item. Make no mistake. If I want to talk to an agenda item or a citizen wants to talk on an agenda item, you guys will know. I'll make sure you know that they want to talk or that I want to talk. Figure it out. You're smart people. Thank you guys for watching. Wow, what a meeting. I got to go make some money or else I would sit here. Y'all can tune in to the City of Kirby City Council meeting to see other shenanigans. There will be more shenanigans tonight. Trust me, there always is. Until we get this fucking Jabba the Hutt. I'm sorry. Until we get Mayor, what's her name? Fucking Aldrich out of there. There's going to be tyranny and shenanigans. And hopefully one day when she's out of here, we can get back to calling it City Kirby a city council meeting instead of Kirby City Circus meeting. Thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all have a safe night. All right, man, let me call. These motherfuckers are out sitting on a repo probably, so I told them I told them.